15 minutes. We're forecasting winds that could be that high with Hermine, where you have 75-mile-an-hour hurricane right now, and winds that could gust as high as 60-65 miles an hour tomorrow at the peak of it here in Savannah, Alex. So travel could be severely impacted in this area. In addition to the rain, when we talked to the mayor, he said, don't travel. Just hunker down. You don't want to be on the roads when this thing comes through Georgia tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, you talked to the mayor and he said, we'd love you to stay. Just make sure you're staying in. Don't need to be driving around. And definitely good advice to just stay off those roads. All right, want to set the stage, let you know what you need to know. Thank you to everyone also watching us right now on Local Now. Here's the headlines with Hurricane Hermine having big impacts already, and this is expected to be the first landfalling hurricane in Florida in over a decade. 18 million people are under tropical watches or warnings, and we've already seen mandatory evacuations along the Gulf Coast. We are now getting word that Delta is issuing travel waivers for customers who are affected by this hurricane. We've got severe weather threat, and we've got a tornado warning now here into Florida. It's Hernando and Pasco County. You guys were under a tornado warning about 2 hours ago as well, or I guess, 2 hours ago. You can see that area, that couplet that we talk about. When we look at a circulation, we're looking for reds and greens basically near each other. That would indicate winds going towards and away from a radar or the radar in a close distance. So you notice that green pixel and then right above that the red pixel. So that would indicate the turning of the winds, the circulation, and so that's why we do have this tornado warning. This storm moving to the northeast, Mascarestown, Shady Hills, Spring Hill. You're all in the path of this one. This warning expires at 6 o'clock. If you're in the area, lowest level, most interior room, and notice 41 could be impacted by this as well. So if you know anybody who's on the roads this evening, give them a call. Lois, first up at 5:43. All right, want to take you down to the Gulf Coast. We mentioned those mandatory evacuations for some areas. Dave Malkoff is in Appalachicola, where, Dave, I've been looking at the radar. You are in the thick of it.
Oh, yeah, and this is just getting worse as the time progresses. There are some people who work in Appalachicola, but they live on the other side of that bridge. You can barely even see the bridge now. Maybe you can see the police lights on the bridge back there flashing blue. They are shutting down this bridge because after 45 miles an hour, they don't want anybody crossing. We do see 1 or 2 vehicles, but the bridge itself should be shut down right now. That's why a lot of businesses shut down around 2 p.m. So, Mike Bettis, what we're in is a lockdown where we don't have many people coming in or out of here through bridges. People who are here for good, and they better get to a place that is a safe shelter, because this is going to come as the night falls, and it's pretty darn dangerous when you have either a tornado or a hurricane, or possibly both happening at the same time at night, right?
Dave, thank you very much. One thing what we're certainly watching happening already is storm surge along the Florida Gulf Coast. Let's bring in now Carl Parker to talk more about this. Carl, it's only begun. It's going to get worse. Let's talk about the areas that are really going to have a lot of water push onshore tonight.
Yeah, it is a very big concern, Mike, because this is a large storm, and the National Hurricane Center has a new product. It's a whole series of computer models that take into account the strength of a storm, how big it is, and the nature of the coastline and how deep the water is just offshore. And with this product, we're able to determine what the severity of the surge is going to be, and it's a reasonable worst case. It's basically the upper bounds of what is possible. So in the blue colors, you see the potential for 1 to 3 feet of surge. We saw a lot more of that yesterday in this area around Spring Hill and Hudson. So getting a little bit better because the storm is moving a little farther to the north. Now, as we go up the coast and take you up into the Suwannee River, just remarkable flooding possible in this area. You notice, by the way, that there are areas that are gray, and those are areas where inundation occurs on a regular basis. That's marshland. But let's go a little farther north up to the Suwannee River and look at this. So here you're seeing areas of orange and all also red. The orange is 6 to 9 feet of storm surge, and the red is greater than 9 feet of storm surge, and that coming right up and along the Suwannee River and well inland by a good 25 miles. And consider that this is only talking about what's going on in the ocean. This is not considering the rain that's falling, adding to that water that's coming up in those river basins. Then we take you up into the northern part of the Gulf Coast there, and here around St. Marks, Wakulla County, this is where mandatory evacuations have been issued. In St. Marks, talking about a storm surge potential of 6 to 9 feet. This is going to be very serious flooding, and sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around what exactly that means. So we've got an illustration of what that kind of water can do. And when we're talking about a surge of 1 to 3 feet above dry ground, well, as that starts to come in, it's actually going to be enough to float a car. Just that little amount of surge can float a car. And when you think about water, it's got a tremendous amount of weight. A box that's 1 yard in cubic in size, 1 yard wide, 1 yard tall, is actually weighs 1,700 pounds. So there's a tremendous amount of weight in water. And when you think about how many boxes, cubic yards of water you could fit into that alone, you're talking about a huge force. And so when that's moving, that's going to grab stuff and it's going to push it downstream. And as we take that water up higher, then it gets up to 6 feet here. Well, that's obviously above most people's heads at that point. If you were in your house, you'd have to go to an upper level or get on top of the roof. You've got all this debris that's coming around in the water as well, and you're getting a lot of rushing. So storm surge is incredibly dangerous. It is the most dangerous part of a tropical cyclone, and half of the people that are killed by tropical cyclones are killed by the water. So it certainly is of great concern to us. And again, in this particular case, we're talking about some storm surge values around St. Marks and some other areas getting up to 6 to 9 feet. Look at the height of that. Look at where that is. So obviously you don't want to be anywhere near that, because also you can add wave action to that and a lot of flow, a lot of movement in that water. This is a huge concern across the Florida Gulf Coast tonight. Alex, over to you.
Thank you so much, Carl. That really does a great job of depicting what exactly you could be up against. Let's talk about the alerts that currently are in play. We've got tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches across parts of the southeast. The warnings all for the areas shaded in the orange. Of course, we've got the hurricane warnings closer to Tallahassee and the Panhandle. Tallahassee, your 12-hour forecast looks like this. Rain and wind, thunderstorms as well. Look at these gusts. Could be in excess of 90, even 100 miles an hour as we head into the early morning hours. So that's why we are telling you, make sure you are prepared. Make sure everything is charged. You would very likely lose power due to those strong wind gusts and heavy rain. Future radar across parts of South Georgia. We think things are really going to ramp up for you as we head into the morning hours of your Friday. By later Friday, places like Valdosta and Waycross begin to dry out. We could still see some shower activity right along the Florida-Georgia line, but notice a lot of that activity will be off towards the north. Savannah, think things are going to be the most active for you through tomorrow morning and early to mid-afternoon. We could see winds gusting again 60 to 65 miles an hour, as Mike said, so that could impact travel. That bridge may be shut down thanks to those high wind gusts. Future radar then showing Southeast Virginia, Norfolk, and also the Delmarva Peninsula in play for rain showers, thunderstorms on Saturday morning, along with gusty winds. We've been also telling you about the threat of severe weather. We've got a tornado warning in Hernando and Pasco counties, this along the west coast of Florida. We are watching places like Shady Hills right along 41. Radar indicated get to that lowest level, most interior room if you're in the area.
Those who dare drive the world forward. Introducing the first ever Cadillac CT6.
Fall. It's coming. It's time to get focused and make a plan. It's time to gear up, blend in, get on point. It's time to take a stand and see who's home, so that this year can be your booner year. Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days, our largest sale and event of the season. Get $30 off a Bushnell B12 12-megapixel trail camera in-store and online at Cabela's.com.
Key. Need fast heartburn relief? Try Cool Mint Zantac. It releases a cooling sensation in your mouth and throat. Zantac works in as little as 30 minutes. Nexium can take 24 hours. Try Cool Mint Zantac. No pill relieves heartburn faster.
You bought a wig, a jersey, and overpriced nachos. Don't let sinus symptoms bring you down now. Get fast sinus relief with Vicks Sinex and get back in the game. Sinex, the congestion, pressure, pain to clear your head medicine.
When is your flu shot more than a flu shot? When it helps give a life-saving vaccine to a child in need. Thanks to customers like you, Walgreens Get a Shot, Give a Shot program has helped provide 15 million vaccines through the UN Foundation. It's that easy to make a difference. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
One day, a rider made a decision. The decision to ride on and save money. He decided to save money by switching his motorcycle insurance to Geico. There's no shame in saving money. Ride on, ride proud. Geico Motorcycle. Great rates for great rides.
Maybe it was here when you hit 300,000 miles. Or here when you walked away without a scratch. Maybe it was the day your baby came home. Or maybe the day you realized your baby was not a baby anymore. Every Subaru is built to earn your trust because we know what you're trusting us with. Subaru, Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand and best overall brand.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
She spent summer binge watching. Soon, she'll be binge studying.
Get back to great.
This week, 50% off all backpacks. Office Depot Office Max. Gear up for school. Gear up for great.
The whole process of buying a home was terrifying. But having this estimate in which they kind of calculate out what the approximate value of that house maybe should be, it took all that scary risk away.
Whatever home means to you, we'll help you find it. Zillow.
To show Strongbow's impressive range, we hired an actor with almost as much range.
But I'm not acting when I say I love Strongbow Cherry Blossom. Well, I'm acting, but I'm not acting. Will somebody give me a line? I am dying.
Strongbow! It's easy to love your laxative when that lax loves your body back. Only Miralax hydrates, eases, and softens to unblock naturally. So you have peace of mind from start to finish. Love your laxative, Miralax.
At our Labor Day sale, take an extra 50% off all clearance. Plus, buy one, get one free on almost everything in the store. And Traveler in 1905 suits are $229. Plus, get $29 sports shirts, polos, shorts, and more. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Welcome back. We are looking at a tornado warning here along the western side of Florida. This is north of Tampa for Hernando and Pasco counties. The warning extends until 6 o'clock, and we've got a radar-indicated possible tornado. We're looking for rotation, and you want to look for areas of green and red near each other, and that's exactly what Ryan, our weather producer, has circled for you. If you're in the path of this one, it's moving quickly, about 45 miles per hour. Get to the lowest level, most interior room. Here are a few of the areas that could be dealing with this storm. Shady Hills, 546, so just over 5 minutes from now. Make sure you're already in your safe spot. 553 for Spring Hill. Again, if you are in the path of this, lowest level, most interior rooms. Well, with Hurricane Hermine now barreling towards the Florida coast, more than 18 million people are under some kind of warning or alert. We are concerned about a lot of aspects. There are a lot of big risks, and joining us now to talk about the risks associated with Hermine is National Hurricane Center Deputy Director Ed Rappaport. Dr. Rappaport, we thank you so much for coming on with us again. And, let's start with the biggest threats, the biggest risks that the NHC is tracking.
Yes, thank you. The biggest risks are, again, associated with water, and we've been talking about it now for several days. The storm surge is the greatest concern, at least at the coast and initially, with now a prediction of up to 6 to 9 feet in some areas along the Florida Big Bend coast. And of course, inland, we have the potential for excessive rain, significant flooding from the rainfall. And we should actually consider the combination of the two, in some of the river areas right along the coast, we're going to have the combination of the storm surge moving up the rivers and the rainfall trying to flow out and down the rivers and get significant combined flooding there.
Dr. Rappaport, this will go beyond Florida. We know that. With a potential onshore flow in places like coastal Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, what kind of water or surge could we anticipate in these locations?
It's a little early to forecast the exact amount, but we're talking about several feet of surge is also possible along the coast as we move up the southeastern coast. Again, as you said, the onshore flow. So there are now tropical storm warnings all the way up the coast now to North Carolina, and it's in this area that we have the greatest risk for storm surge and strong winds and rain over the next day or two. Of course, the threat increases as you go further north later in the weekend.
And, you know, the NHC just announced at their 5 o'clock advisory that they're actually going to continue issuing advisories even once this system becomes post-tropical. It's rare, but there's a reason that you go into actually making that decision and continuing those advisories.
That's right. As we saw and learned from Hurricane Sandy up in the northeast, there's a lot of visibility that comes with the forecasts and the advisories that come out of the National Hurricane Center. And as long as the impacts, the threats are still there, the fact that it's tropical or it has a different scientific name as an extratropical storm or post-tropical really shouldn't matter. We want to make sure that everybody's aware of what the forecast is and what the potential impacts are. And so we have that option now of continuing to issue the forecasts out of the National Hurricane Center.
Dr. Rappaport, would you anticipate any more strengthening before landfall? We're at a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane right now. Could this bump up even higher?
That's possible. There's still another 6 to 10 hours before landfall. In fact, we are forecasting another 5 knots or so, 5 miles per hour strengthening. Not a lot, but enough to obviously keep it as Category 1 hurricane through landfall. Now, the hurricane force winds are going to cover a relatively small area. So as we said earlier, it's going to be the water that's the most significant threat here.
And that's one of my big questions. You know, it's been 11 years since we've had a hurricane make landfall in Florida. What's the big message you want to get out? There are people in Florida who have never been through a hurricane. There are people in Florida who it's been a really long time. What would be your main messages to somebody watching?
Well, the main messages actually were put out yesterday and the day before. It's actually it's getting to be the point where it's too late now along the coast to take any protective actions or evacuate. You've only got a few hours now, the water's rising already. So the lesson here is when you're a day to 2 days out, have your plan in place, know what you're going to do, find out whether you're in an evacuation zone, and follow the advice of the emergency managers in your area.
All right, Dr. Rappaport, thank you so much for taking the time. A busy day again for you guys. We appreciate your insight and analysis. And Mike, thank you. We'll be checking back in with you as the preparations for the city of Savannah continue. We've got much more on Hurricane Hermine coming up. We'll be showing you what it's like in Cedar Key, Florida, one of the areas under a storm surge warning. As Dr. Rappaport said, water going to be the big threat with this storm. We'll talk more about the storm surge coming up.
New from the rotisserie kitchen at Boston Market, chicken marsala. Our all-natural rotisserie chicken in a savory marsala sauce with sautéed cremini and portobello mushrooms. Enjoy it for a limited time. Boston Market, all good.
Enjoy new rotisserie chicken marsala for a limited time. Boston Market, all good.
Clear for takeoff. See ya.
When you're living with diabetes, steady is exciting.
Oh, this is living, baby.
Only Glucerna has Carb Steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes. And try new Glucerna Hunger Smart to help you feel full.
Kick off fall with a deal like never before on Weber's best grills at Lowe's. Now get $100 off all Weber Genesis grills. Plus get free delivery, assembly, and haul away with your purchase. Make your home happy with fall's best savings right now at Lowe's.
Right now, our weather experts are tracking Hurricane Hermine. Trust in the Weather Channel to keep you ahead of the storm with critical information, not just for you, but also for your friends and family in Hermine's path.
Conditions expected to deteriorate hour by hour.
With more meteorologists, more live field coverage, and more expertise than anyone else, when developments happen, you'll know it first.
That makes it dangerous.
Whether we're getting you through it or taking you to it, when you need us most, there's only one, the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 70 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 54, winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday, mainly sunny, high 75, winds east-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, a mostly clear sky, low 53, winds light and variable. Here's our 7-day outlook.
She spent summer binge watching. Soon, she'll be binge studying.
Get back to great.
This week, 50% off all backpacks. Office Depot Office Mats. Gear up for school. Gear up for great.
It's the Phillips lady. Anyone ever have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, or bloating? She does. Help defend against those digestive issues. Take Phillips Colon Health Probiotic Caps daily with 3 types of good bacteria. 400 likes? Wow.
Phillips, be good to your gut.
At our Labor Day sale, take an extra 50% off all clearance. Plus, buy one, get one free on almost everything in the store. And Traveler and 1905 suits are $229. Plus, get $29 sports shirts, polos, shorts, and more. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
You want to see something intense? Pantene Expert gives you the most beautiful hair ever. With our strongest Pro V formula ever. Strong is beautiful.
Thousands of spectators, all watching Harley-Davidson in action.
There are 50 motorcycle makers in America. We got to be different.
And we built it tough.
What's it like?
Like an explosion between your legs.
It'll be too dangerous. Nobody's going to want to buy that.
People will want it, trust me.
Harley and the Davidsons, a 3-night television event, starts Monday at 9 on Discovery. Experience more confidence regardless of the conditions.
Nothing but blue skies.
Get great offers at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get up to $5,000 customer cash on select 2016 models. End September 5th. See your Lexus dealer.
Wild Mustangs.
I can't believe we live in the middle of all this.
They're supposed to be one of the most gentle creatures in nature.
Really?
I read that once.
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments, there's one of these.
Wild Mustangs? I can't believe we live in the middle of all of this.
They're supposed to be one of the most gentle creatures in nature.
Really?
I don't know. I read that once.
That's why more people save money by combining their home and auto with State Farm. Here to help life go right. State Farm.
I've got a small business, and everybody said you should be promoting it with Facebook.
Well, I use Facebook for myself, but I had no idea how to use it for my plumbing business.
Then I heard about web.com.
They told me they would build a professional Facebook page for my business free.
So I gave them a call.
And then they built me a Facebook page for free. I couldn't believe it.
If you call web.com now, you can have a new Facebook page built for your small business free. We even write posts for your Facebook page that will get people talking about you.
It's like I have this whole big social media department for my business.
Call now and web.com will build your new Facebook page free. Then we'll continue to bring you new fans, write posts for you, and report on results, all for one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing.
Now people call me and say, I found you on Facebook. How cool is that?
You say it, we build it free.
Call 1-888-245-7842 today.
I think what makes the Weather Channel's coverage unique is that we are meteorologists. We know the weather, and that makes a tremendous difference.
We are
are back from the break, and Florida itself is back in the hurricane business for the first time since 2005. A hurricane is churning offshore and threatening to come on shore right about here. I'm Dave Malkoff in Appalachicola. That is on Florida's Gulf Coast on the Panhandle. And back there is Hurricane Hermine. Now, Hurricane Hermine has put some 24.8 million Americans under some sort of tropical warning, either a hurricane watcher warning or a tropical storm watcher warning. 24 million Americans at this point. The people who are right here, who are living in this area, are under a mandatory evacuation order depending on which side of these bridges they are on. The thing that happens is those bridges get shut down after the winds become too high for first responders to cross those bridges. This is going to come in the middle of the night, Alex, and it's going to be very scary when this tropical storm or hurricane comes on shore, because people here in this area may have never gone through anything like this before, because it has been so long since either a tropical storm or a hurricane has come on shore in Florida.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people either completely unfamiliar or rusty at best. Well, Hurricane Hermine is churning its way towards Florida, as Dave just mentioned. One area in its path, Cedar Key, and that's where we find Sarah Rosario. Sarah, what is the latest from there? We had gotten reports that they had already seen a rise in the water. What's the latest?
Well, Alex, within the last hour, so when we spoke to you about an hour ago, we were over by the water that was continually rising. It was high tide at the time, and now it's starting to recede just a little bit, but conditions here are deteriorating now that this hurricane is just charging towards Florida, and now that it is officially a hurricane. So now there's some other concerns for people here who aren't in the path of this storm. One of them, as you mentioned, is the storm surge, and the other is the possibility of some tornadoes. And some people just south of us have already been dealing with some flash flooding. Now they're preparing for things to get worse. And we've seen video from all over the Florida Gulf Coast of people just trying to deal with this the best they can. We spoke to some people out in Appalachicola, where the last reporter was, and they said that they didn't want to evacuate, that they were prepared for this storm. And that's not something that officials are condoning. They're really warning against that, telling people to evacuate if that's what's necessary, and for the people that can stay around the area, they're telling people to stay in their homes and to make sure, most importantly, to stay off the roads. Today, Florida Governor Rick Scott has declared a state of emergency for people here, 51 counties in the area, and he's warning people of these potential dangers, these high winds, down trees, down power lines. These are all things that could put people in danger. And again, the storm surge. People that are not heeding this mandatory evacuation order will not be able to get help from 911 if they try to call. Reporting live in Cedar Key, Sarah Rosario, back to you, Alex.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. You know, we want to turn things over to Carl Parker, our storm specialist now. And Carl, you know, as she mentioned, some people chose not to leave, but as Dr. Rappaport pointed out, it's really too late to make preparations now.
Yeah, you know, that is really unfortunate when you hear that people aren't leaving when they are in harm's way. And the storm surge forecast has actually come up here with the latest forecast package from the National Hurricane Center. I want to show you that. Here are the latest numbers, and there really has not been much change as to the previous advisory. 75-mile-per-hour storm moving north-northeast at 14 miles per hour, pressure 988, but it's a very large storm with a huge area of winds piling up the water. And one big change here has been the extension of this forecast of a 6 to 9 foot storm surge. That now including Cedar Key and extending up towards Wakulla County and St. Mark's, which is the area where we've had mandatory evacuations issued. And then the 4 to 7 foot surge extending a little farther to the south down towards Spring Hill, 2 to 4 feet south of that. And that 2 to 4 feet does include Pinellas County and the Tampa Bay metro area. And then also you've got 1 to 3 feet down into Sarasota and Fort Myers. So all the way around, the surge numbers have been increased by the National Hurricane Center, and that is testament to just how how large and how powerful this storm is. Now, the core of very strongest winds is going to be coming up through the panhandle of Florida, here anywhere from just northwest of Cedar Key over to Live Oak, and then getting into Tallahassee. Could be a really rough night in Tallahassee. There are a lot of trees there, a lot of live oaks there in Tallahassee and all of those areas. These big, beautiful trees that are likely going to be damaged and knocked down by the winds, perhaps gusting over 90 miles per hour as the storm comes through. And also that extends into Appalachicola. Tropical storm warnings extend well up into Georgia and along the coast of the Carolinas. But here is something that we did not have before. Tropical storm watches now up from Tidewater, Virginia, into the Delmarva and also into the Jersey Shore as well, in anticipation of a possible tropical storm later this week.
Live from the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Hurricane Central.
Thank you for joining us here on the Weather Channel as we bring you special coverage this evening of Hurricane Hermine, a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane just hours away from making landfall in Florida. It'll be the Sunshine State's first hurricane in nearly 11 years. The water is also rising, the winds picking up. What can we see tonight in Florida? We're going to take you there live. You can see the cameras in Cedar Key where the water is coming up and surge will be a very big issue. Winds and surge and rainfall an issue in places like St. George and Appalachicola. We've got you covered from every single angle this evening as we watch Hurricane Hermine. Thanks for being with us right here on the Weather Channel. I'm Mike Bettis coming to you live from Savannah, Georgia, where tropical storm warnings are in effect. It won't be just Florida that feels the impacts from Hermine. It'll go clear up the coast. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, all these locations have tropical storm warnings in effect, and it may go even beyond that, maybe as far north as the Jersey Shore. We're going to be with you for several hours tonight and live through the evening to bring you the very latest. We'll talk about what the impact could be right here in Savannah, Georgia, Alex, but we know we've got a lot of angles to cover with this evening.
Oh, absolutely. And we want to thank everyone who's watching us right now on Local Now so we can bring you the latest on the threats. And as Mike said, this is a storm that's going to be with us for a few days. We now have tropical storm watches up for parts of the Jersey Shore. We'll start with what we know right now. Landfall expected in the Big Bend area of Florida later tonight. 24 million people are under tropical watches or warnings, and there's the potential for 6 to 9 foot storm surge in some locations. So we're talking about water being the big threat. There are mandatory evacuations along the Gulf Coast, and as Mike mentioned, Florida's bracing for the impacts from the first hurricane to make landfall there in more than a decade. The Weather Channel's Dave Malkoff is live right now in the coastal town of Appalachicola, where we do expect the center of this storm, Dave, to pass very close by as we head into the late evening and overnight hours.
Yeah, we could be looking at an overnight 2 a.m. or so where we're sitting here right where we are in Appalachicola. That's on the Florida Panhandle on the Gulf Coast where this storm comes on shore. And it's very dangerous not only for the people here who are choosing to stay, but also for the people on the other side of bridges. Surprisingly, that bridge back there, we are seeing cars pass back and forth. Still, we were hearing from sheriff's deputies that at least the bridge that takes you over to St. George Island, the one that is about a 28-mile long stretch of a barrier island on the other side of us, that one shuts down at 45 miles an hour. That's when the sheriff's deputies who are staging in front of there, checking people's IDs coming in and out of the island, that's where they are shutting down the bridge. But this one that leads into Apalachicola, look at this. We've got a semi-truck, a big sail, if you will, for hurricane force or tropical storm force winds, could just push a truck over the side. Very, very dangerous when you have very gusting winds and something that big and boxy going over the bridge. But that is still open, the bridge going to Apalachicola. As for the bridge that's going to St. George Island, that is shut down now with somewhere around 25 million people, almost 25 million people who are under some sort of tropical warning, either a tropical storm or a hurricane warning at this point.
All right, Dave Malkoff. Thank you very much this evening for the update there, because we know that the Panhandle is going to take it on the chin this evening. Let's bring in now our hurricane specialist, Carl Parker, for some more specifics on this. Carl, I find it always fascinating. For a long time, we watched this on satellite, but once you start to get the radar, boy, these things take on a whole nother personality.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The eye wall now clearly coming into view so we can see the shape of this storm, and I think it's going to tighten up even more as we go through tonight, which we can take a look at on the high-resolution model here in just a moment. But there's the satellite picture. Here is your developing eye wall right there. So this is the area where the strongest winds are going to be coming up into Appalachicola and also into Tallahassee. But you've got a huge area of wind on the east side of the circulation. Winds now in a very broad area, gusting to 65 miles per hour at a buoy that is out over the open water. And that, of course, is piling up the water in this very shallow coastal shelf. And that is going to bring us a storm surge of 6 to 9 feet from Cedar Key and on northwestward to St. Mark's. Very